Welcome to Relax and Chat. I'm your host, Rod Gilley. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Canadian writer Jeanette Gadbois. Hi, Jeanette. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm honored to be here on your show. Thank you for having me. And I love talking about books. I love talking about writing, so I might go on and on and on. So
For the audience who may not be familiar with your work or who you are, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Canadian. I'm
Uh-huh.
French Canadian, but I live in Ontario. I was raised in Ontario. Ontario is a bilingual province. I was born in Ottawa, raised in Cornwall, and the four characters that are in my series actually come from, well, the female main characters come from Cornwall. I took snippets of my friends, a little bit of everybody, and I put them in these characters.
Mm.
My love for writing started when I was in high school.
Uh-huh.
My last year, I was writing a column describing all the activities that were going on in the school.
Uh-huh.
And that column was published in our French newspaper in Cornwall.
Oh.
So that gave me kind of a little, like, I really liked doing it.
Uh-huh.
Not enough to pursue a career in it immediately, because I thought, well, I'm probably going to starve. So I went to college for a couple of years in secretarial, and then I moved to Ottawa. I worked in a typing pool.
Mm.
I took night classes to pursue another dream of mine, which didn't happen either. I studied in law. I thought I'd become the first woman prime minister.
Oh.
And well, that didn't happen either. So the last one of my dreams did come true. And about 10 years ago, I had this reoccurring dream. I never remember my dream. I don't know about you, but I rarely remember my dreams. And this one was a reoccurring one, and it had ghosts and murders. And I thought, oh my God, what does this mean? Am I going to die soon and become a ghost? Or, you know? So I thought, well, I'll buy one of those dream books and I'll learn the meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I shared my dream with others, with friends and family, I thought, nah, I'm going to write this story because I just know it too well. Like, I mean, it was almost every night that I dream about this.
Oh.
Same characters, whatever. I added a lot of characters, though, in my books, and this dream became a moment in time, like the four novels.
Uh-huh.
I write basically, I wrote the whole thing outside on my swing. I'd write it down and then I'd come in, type it on the computer, and I thought, okay, well, what now? I started sending it to, I sent it to one publishing company.
Mm-hmm.
And they said no. They politely declined my book, my manuscript.
Uh-huh.
But then I asked them, I said, listen, this is my first manuscript. I have no idea what I'm doing. Could you please tell me how I could fix this so it would become something that people would like to read?
Uh-huh.
And they did.
Oh.
They sent me the problems where they saw problems, and it was their opinion. Like the person who replied said, this is only my opinion, but this is what you need to fix. And I started taking writing lessons, boot camps on writing. I attended workshops at the libraries near where I live. I went online, and there's a lot of help, actually. There's a critique group on Facebook called Writer's World. I joined that group, and it helped me a lot. The editors and people in that group, you just post like a snippet, and they critique it and help you out. Anyways, it's just that was how I finally got everything fixed. Then I sent it altogether to 16 publishing companies. I got 8 no's, 5 never replied. I got 2 maybes and 1 yes out of those 16. So I thought it was pretty good for someone who left writing behind for like, well, I'm not going to say because I'm just going to date myself, but it was over 30 years anyways. So that's a little bit how it all came about. I'm no pro. I don't think I am, but I'm learning and I really enjoy it. And it's also a hobby for me. I work full time. So,
do you consider yourself to be a pantser or a plotter?
a little of both.
Are you?
I didn't really plot the story for the entire series because, like I said, it came to me in a dream. So I knew the story. I knew where it was heading, kind of. Yes, I added a few scenes to build up the mystery or suspense, but I basically knew the beginning and I knew how it would end. So it was just a matter of following that idea that I had, but I never wrote it down or nothing. I didn't have to. The only thing I did, and I found extremely useful because it was a series and my characters my main characters are in each book. It's always the same 4 female characters. They leave on a trip and it's always the same one. The first book is one girl's story, and then the second book is another girl, and then the third and fourth. They're 4 girls.
Look for the link in the description for A Moment in Time to browse over the 4 novels in Jeanette's series.
So, and where they leave on this trip from Canada and they go to the States, they were going down south, like to a beach or something. They wanted to escape the snow. And I don't blame them because I'm at this point where I could do without the snow. And their car breaks down in a town where there's a myth. Whoever sees the ghost does not live to tell the tale. So that's how the story starts. And that's how it started basically in my dream. And that's what worried me. Like, am I going to die right now? I made a document with all the characters. I went into detail, maybe even physically what they look like. That might not be too much in the books, but I wanted to know their quirks also. And I wrote everything down, father, mother, if they were married or not, birthday, so that I wouldn't make any mistakes during the whole series. I'd always refer to that.
So you knew right from day one it would be a series of books, not just one book.
Well, at first I thought it would be only one book, but whoever, like I had a better reader read it first, and she said, oh God, that's a lot of stories in one book. You should divide it. It was like a phenomenal amount of words. I can't remember, but anyway, she said, no, divide it and each one can have their own story, and then you elaborate a little bit. And that's where it might have helped if I would have plotted a little bit, because then by breaking it up, it didn't, like, I really had to work on each one's story, each one's life. But anyways, it is what it is. You live and learn. So that's where I'm a little bit of a pantser too.
All right. Well, it's kind of neat that you were inspired to write the stories by a dream. So another question I like to ask is, how do you balance your time between being a writer and everything else in your life?
Well, to be honest, I don't write every day. I don't know. Because it's a hobby for me, I am more relaxed about it. I write when I feel like it, and when I first wrote the series A Moment in Time, I didn't stop. I was writing almost every day.
Uh-huh.
And at like my children all left.
Mhm.
One got married. The other one was already living in my oldest was living in Ottawa. I have 3 kids. And my youngest was in university living. And all of a sudden, they all come back. And here I am writing. I had this is now my office. This was my boy's bedroom. That is now my office. But all
Oh,
of a sudden, all these kids come back and they have partners and my grandson.
uh-huh.
So I wrote almost all the series, and I don't know. I was on a mission, I believe. I wrote it from the kitchen table, basically. And every night I'd have a little bit of ideas, or sometimes I remember I'd be driving and I'd pull over and write whatever,
Uh-huh.
and then add it to, you just, well, I don't know about you, but I know that sometimes when I'm blocked, I think, okay, how am I going to fix it? And it could take a day or two, and then all of a sudden the idea comes. The ideas just flow, and most of the time it was when I was driving. So I'd either pull over and write it down so I wouldn't forget. And then I started thinking, you know what? If I forget, it's because it wasn't that good of an idea.
Uh-huh.
So I stopped doing that. But I find I'm wasting all my free time that I usually took for writing. I'm wasting on promoting. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. Reply to one, answer to the other.
Uh-huh.
It's so time consuming. And then by the time I finish all that, I'm beat. I don't want to write. I just go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, I fight with time all the time. I've been in a battle with time for decades.
Yeah.
But I will say, being on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, getting out there, if it depends on what your goals are, but the more success you want, the more you got to put yourself out there. While I agree with you entirely that it does take a lot of time, I don't think it's wasted time. Between producing this show, each episode, a half-hour episode, takes at least 10 hours to put together. And
Oh my God.
and I don't get paid a dime for this. I do this just because I love doing it.
Yes.
And then you do have a lot of communication with other people on the social sites, And then
Mm-hmm.
I run 2 small businesses, so I'm doing 15-hour days, and I'm getting
Oh,
a little old for that. So I'm looking at
okay.
rescheduling
Well,
my schedule.
I'm glad I'm not the only one then.
It's worth the effort, though, and still to this day, the most fun work I do, as much as I love several parts of my day, I love writing. I get so much fun out of just doing it. And
Mhm.
hopefully I'll always be a writer because I love doing it. Just because of time, I think we'll move ahead a little bit. I
Okay.
did want to ask you, you've got a novel called Destiny, and it's the third novel in your series. Look in the description for the link to Destiny to go to Amazon and check out this novel.
Yes.
Seemed pretty interesting. I thought I'd ask you a little bit about it. In general, would you say you write romance with a twist, or what would you say your writing is as far as genre? Is it across genre
I
entirely?
think it is. I think it is across genre.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it like you. It's the French and I call it genre. Um, this one, I say a little bit of um, woman's fiction
Uh-huh.
/ romance with a little bit of suspense. Um, Destiny is the dearest to me because when I wrote this book, first of all, it's dedicated to women and anyone who has suffered from abuse, any genre of abuse. I don't, whatever it is. I dedicate this. I have a character in Destiny who is called Jackie Baldwin. She's a secondary character. She's not a main character, but this novel I wrote with her in mind because she was a friend of mine for 50 years and she passed away. She lost her battle to cancer right before I published Destiny. And I went to New Brunswick, spoke to her about it, and I said, okay, this is it. This is what I'm writing. You are a character in my novel. And she says, as long as I'm sexy, it's all good. So I had her blessings, and the book, unfortunately, she passed away before the book was published. But that's kind of why it's dearest to me. It is also the first one I wrote. That I found I didn't have any issues. It just flowed. I'm getting used to it. The more you write, the better you get. And I think that's the case also with Destiny. So those are the reasons why.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. And it's a sort of what would you call it? A romance story that has...
It is a romance. I kind of wanted to show women's fiction. I kind of wanted to show readers who are in this boat, who are suffering from abuse, that you don't have to stay in that type of relationship.
Yeah.
You can move on. It's difficult, but it can be done.
Yes.
So
that's a very good message to get out there, And I'm going to be willing to guess it's a pretty entertaining story. That sounds like, obviously, you've got some emotional ties in Destiny. That was obvious.
Yes.
And so if that translates into your book, that, to my mind, makes it an exceptional book. Any story, short story, novella, novel, and it's only my opinion, and I'm nobody, but I believe you've got to have emotion in your writing. I like to give the guest an opportunity to speak directly to the audience. I'll try to sit back, relax, and just have a coffee. And you're not censored in any way. You can share anything you like.
Thank you. Well, I would like to mention that although my books are available on Amazon, ebook, and paperback, Caught Between Worlds is also on audio. And trust me, the second novel in the series is going to be coming out on Mother's Day this year. Jaylan Gillian is the narrator, and she's excellent. Other than that, I will probably be doing some book signings, maybe one or two over the summer.
Jeanette does book signings and interacts on social media and does shows like this one. She's a real dedicated writer. So check out her books, and I bet you'll find something you'll really enjoy.
I want to thank everyone who has helped me during my writing process, whether it was the questions I asked my mechanic, my husband, my kids for reading this. Does this sound right? I questioned an OPP officer because some of my main characters are police officers. So I questioned a firefighter because another one is a firefighter. It went on and on. I questioned so many people for research purposes, and I thank them all. Without all of them, I don't think it would have been as good as what it is now. And that's about it. I'm grateful to my family, to my readers, and to you too as well. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
It's my pleasure, really. And this little show, I think, is a really great show, and the reason is because of people like you, fantastic guests. I've been very blessed to have some really great guests on the show. And
yes, you have. I've listened to your podcast and I enjoyed them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I'm a little confused on the subject, but I don't think my show is a podcast. It's just a YouTube show.
Okay, yeah. I tend to call them all podcasts because whenever there's more than one, yes, that's true.
Yeah, I just think of it as a TV series on the new TV, YouTube.
Yes.
I'll definitely make sure there's a link in the description to
Thank you.
Destiny. I'll try to see if I can do a page link that'll show all 4 stories in this series. And that way the audience can take their pick or get them all, or focus just on Destiny, whatever they want to do. I'm trying to open up their options so that people can get a good look at what you write and can enjoy it.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, I'm afraid we're about out of time, so I guess I'll have to say goodbye for now, but I hope you'll come back sometime and we can chit chat some more, maybe over the summer or something, if you like.
Okay.
Awesome.
That would be great. Thank you.
All right. You have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
If I can figure out how to do it, I'm going to put some card links up on this screen. So if you see those, first, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Help me keep Relax and Chat going. And then click any of the card links on the screen that look interesting. Now, if I can't succeed at getting these card links made, they will be listed as additional links down in the description. Take a look. And thank you again for watching Relax and Chat.